So Screencast 6 is the final screencast in the series of screencasts that have looked at business level strategy. And the final generic business level strategy I want to consider is focus. Now, remember we said that a focus strategy was about trying to avoid the competition rather than being better than the competition. So in the next few slides, I want to look at focus strategy and explain what it is and give you some examples of focus strategy organisations. Okay, so a focus strategy really, it's a strategy of specialisation, and specialisation means that the business is not aiming at the whole market. It is looking at a segment, a part of the market. It is identifying relatively uncontested strategic space, right? Thinking about strategic space in the week 1 lectures when we talked about industry environment. Okay, so we talked about strategic groups and strategic space, right? Now, one of the advantages of focus is because you are not aiming at the entire market, the whole market, it can require lower levels of investment, right, compared to trying to enter as a broad market-wide business level. So because of this reason, a focus strategy is a way that many businesses enter the market. So even if we think about Nike, what did Nike first enter the market as? Well, it entered the market purely with running shoes, okay? Just running shoes for track and field athletes and then for jogging, okay? And after it developed running shoes, it started to develop clothes for running. Right? Once it had developed that, so that was its focus strategy. Nike was a specialist in the running equipment market, shoes and clothes, right? It then began to expand into other sports, notably basketball with the sponsorship deal and the collaboration with Michael Jordan, tennis with Andre Agassi and subsequent tennis players, golf with Tiger Woods, and development of footwear and then golf clubs and so on. So it has grown slowly and incrementally into a big organisation with many, many different sports equipment ranges, but it began as a focus organisation serving the running market. Okay. Now, because you're just focusing on one segment or one aspect of the market, it also allows specialisation and greater knowledge of the segment being served, so you can differentiate yourself by providing better customer responsiveness because you understand the customers better because they're your only customers, and you develop products and services which meet their needs better than they can get from the cost leaders or the differentiators who target the entire market. Okay, so some examples, and there aren't many of these, but it's worth talking about this. So Wellsian, okay, is a US chain of gyms for adults aged over 50, right? So we have said when we looked at the pastel environment that in places like Hong Kong and in England and in Europe and in North America, we have an aging population, right? So there are going to be more older people than there are young people. However, if we look at the gym market, gyms are really serving younger people and the needs of older people perhaps aren't being met and understood very well. So Wellsian has moved into this area, right? And it is developing a focused strategy to try and understand and move into this area. So it wants to be in the gym industry, but it's avoiding the competition by not competing head on for young people, but competing and trying to serve better than other gyms, the over 50 club, the over 50 age group. So that is one example. Another example here is Nifty at 50, which is another kind of club aimed at older people. Again, in the US. In the UK, we haven't really got this. This hasn't happened yet. But in the US market, this does happen. So what other examples have we got? Curves. I don't know if there are any Curves gyms in Hong Kong, but Curves is a franchise business, right? And it specialises in women only health and fitness. So women gyms, right? So it is one of the biggest sports franchise gym businesses in the world, and it's female only membership. So that is clearly a focused strategy. So it has developed its brand, its image, its range of activities purely around the needs of women and getting to understand the health and fitness needs of women in gyms. So that has been that's been the core of their business. Okay, and the other area which is interesting as well is concept gyms. So concept gyms are not gyms which have lots and lots of equipment in them. So you go in and there's heavy weights, free weights, there's resistance machines, there's cardio machines. A concept gym will have just one activity, right? So it could be you go to a concept gym and all that concept gym does is it does cycling classes, yeah? But it does cycling classes better than anybody else, yeah? You could go to another gym, another concept gym, and it doesn't do cycling, but it does aerobics, and it does aerobics better than anybody else. So what we see, and this relates back to industry life cycle, is that as the industry grows and reaches maturity, that these gyms are trying to identify unserved areas of the market to try to grow the gym business, right? So the market appears to have reached maturity and isn't growing. Demand is flat, but they're trying to stimulate demand by coming up with new gyms. So their concept isn't on an age group. It's not like Nifty at 50 or Wellsian. It's not on gender lines. It's not just based at females. This is based on the kind of user who doesn't want to be just a gym member. They might also want to move around and go to different classes at different gyms, different venues each week. So this concept gym idea is meeting a different kind of consumer of health and fitness, one that doesn't want to be a member, but one who is willing to go occasionally, you know, maybe once a week rather than 3 or 4 times a week to your concept gym and do a high intensity activity and then do another kind of class somewhere else. But these classes have got the best instructors, the best environment, and that is what they're trying to do. So it's a different kind of idea in gyms, in the gym market. And we've seen that there are boutique and concept gyms in Hong Kong as well when we looked in industry environment in the week 1 lecture. Okay, so I said at the end of the lecture we would look at something called stuck in the middle. And what I said is that organisations who try to pursue at the same time a differentiation strategy and a cost leadership strategy, they end up stuck in the middle, right? What Michael Porter has said, and this is Porter's bucket, so a bucket has a bottom, and people who are stuck in the middle are stuck at the bottom of the bucket, right? And what this means is they cannot differentiate as well as the differentiators, because they're also thinking about keeping prices relatively low, but they can't keep prices as low as a cost leader because they're also trying to differentiate. So they end up trying to do both things at the same time, but they do not do either of them well enough. They do not differentiate well enough, and they do not focus on cost advantage well enough. So they end up being much more expensive than the cost leaders, and they end up being not as good quality as the differentiators. So what happens is that they have a low market share because there are some people who want low cost and high market volumes, and then you've got differentiation based organisations like Boutique who want a low market share but charge a high price for high profitability, or Equinox who charge a high price for high profitability but have got a low market share because only a few people can afford the £200 a month fee which they charge, or the 2,000 Hong Kong dollars a month fee which they charge. And businesses that don't do the both, they end up down here, stuck in the middle, right? So they're stuck in the middle with a low market share and low profitability. Now, if we think about the gym industry in the UK, before 2010, we didn't have low-cost gyms. So in this diagram, we've got a growing, in 2010, a growing low-cost gym industry, but just a few, not many. And up here, we've got a few premium differentiator clubs charging a high price. And in the middle here, we've got what's called the mid-market, so charging £16 to £49 a month. So there was a club chain in the UK called Fitness First, and there did used to be Fitness First clubs in Hong Kong. I'm not sure if they are still there, but what happened is that in the UK, and this is 2015, what we can see is that the orange circle, which is the low-cost gym, is growing, and it's starting to squeeze the mid-market gym. The mid-market gym is being stuck in the middle. What has happened to Fitness First in the UK since 2015 is that they have closed many gyms and they have sold the business. So Fitness First as a gym does not exist anymore because it was stuck in the middle. It was trying to be both a cost leader and a differentiator at the same time, and it wasn't successful. It lost the competitive advantage and it exited the business. Okay, so concluding comments on business level strategy, right? So the main thing we've taken from this is different organisations will have different looking value chains, but all organisations have got to produce activities. They've got to take their products through various stages, from concept to design to manufacturing to selling and distributing to customer service and after sales service, right? They've all got to do that. That might look a little bit different for different businesses in the same industry. Okay. But what we've seen is that organisations which are most likely to be successful will either create superior efficiency. So we've seen how budget gyms in the UK like Pure Gym combine superior efficiency with great innovation. So innovating the service design to make it cheaper to reduce costs. We've seen how differentiators have tried to build superior quality through innovation in research and design and through superior customer responsiveness, right? So even if the lecture today has not looked at an organisation or the kind of organisation which you are looking at for your assignment, because we've just looked at gyms and sportswear today, for your organisation to generate competitive advantage, it will need to have a strategy in place which tries to create and use a mix of the 4 building blocks of competitive advantage, which are superior efficiency, superior customer responsiveness, superior quality, and superior innovation. So that is the end of this screencast. Thank you.